Life is like a mirror. It mirrors back to us whatever we're putting out.
Exactly.
It's a reciprocal universe.
Exactly.
That, whatever we put out there, we're going to get back. So the idea, I think, is when things seem to be going wrong, to shift your vibration.
Exactly. And to shift your vibration, you have to focus on something else. If something's really got your attention, if something's really big and really bold and really in your face, it can be more challenging, but you have to find a way to shift your focus onto something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be hard sometimes. It can be not hard, challenging.
Very challenging sometimes.
Especially when things are coming down on you, Yeah.
Especially when it's family. If it involves family or work or money or health.
Relationships.
Those are all really big, kind of in your face situations. So you really sometimes have to focus in a deeper way.
Yeah.
To focus around the condition. To try and get yourself out of the condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some stories we can tell too, how we work through that ourselves in our own life as examples. Let me go back to the principle.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is the way the app works. You click on a word, you come to the main idea of the principle, then you click on that, and it brings you to the principle itself. So let's walk through this principle. I have here, the mind of the infinite filmmaker didn't think in terms of lack and limitation when it created the universe. I mean, you got to look around you and take note of what's going on in the world around you. There is no lack and limitation when we step out of the way.
Yeah. When you look up into the sky at the stars, doesn't that sort of give you that expansive feeling of unlimited possibility? I mean, the abundance, the size of the galaxies and trillion, it is unlimited.
Yeah. So that's the mind of the infinite filmmaker. That's the mind with a capital M. We can connect with that mind with our little individual minds when we do the things that Kimmy and I are talking about here. I got a little story about that. I was down on the beach one day with my daughter and was sitting there watching the sunset. In Los Angeles, we have beautiful sunsets.
Yeah.
And so I said, look at this, Madeline. This is like God painting a picture. It's a painting, and it's so beautiful. Look at the way the sky is all orange and the water's blue. We're looking out over the ocean and stuff. And I said, this is the artwork of God, the infinite filmmaker. And she said, Dad, I thought you told me that it was the pollution. And I said, I had to think quick over that one. I said, well, that's what God uses to paint this beautiful picture. That's his palette. The pollution is his palette.
Yeah.
Paint this beautiful picture.
That is great.
But you have to sit down there and wonder over how everything works, even our human bodies, how they function, and how we can see with the eyes and interpret that as something and create out of it. And the mind is more powerful. We only use 10% of the mind. The rest of the part of the mind that we don't use is available to each and every one of us. We have to train our mind. With a lot of people and myself in the past, the mind controls you and you don't control the mind.
It feels that way, yeah.
It feels that way. It feels like things are out of control, but you can consciously co-create the movie of your life using some of these principles.
Right, correct. And when you say we only use 10% of our brain, what's really interesting is the teachings that I'm studying are our lives currently are only about 10% of what's there really. 90% is potential. Most of your life is invisible. Most of the energy of you and the potential is what you're becoming. So there's so much infinite, unlimited potential for you and your life.
Yeah.
If you can just get out of your own way.
Yeah. Yeah. The potential is there. Yeah. Okay. We're going to move through this really quickly and then we're going to ask you guys some questions. So your individual life's movie is also created out of the mind of the infinite filmmaker, and it is without limitations. And so, some people would say, well, why does it feel like there's so much limitation in my life? Why am I struggling, banging my head against the wall, trying to make things happen?
And that would be because you have so much momentum going. you've practiced that thought. It's not day one when you think that thought. It's day 1000 when you think that thought. Oh man, this sucks. Da, 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 da. It's because you have such a momentum. You got a train going 100 miles an hour in one direction of those thoughts.
Yeah.
And so you're not creating outside of those thoughts because you have so much momentum, which is why often it feels like it's thinking me. I can't stop this train.
Yeah.
It just means that you've had those beliefs and those thought patterns for a long time and you've thought them over. You've created sort of a 405 superhighway.
Yeah.
With those neural pathways. And so, to really branch out, it's like taking a little machete off the 405 and going through the jungle in compared to a 6-lane freeway going one way. That's why it feels so sort of concrete almost that, you're locked into that. And it really is just the mindset that you've created and you've thought over and over and over and over. So your neural pathways are so well defined that to think outside of that is not your natural inclination. And it will take some conscious, like you said, you have to broaden your consciousness and actually have an intention to think a different thought.
Yeah. In my Infinite Filmmaker teachings, I talk about life as being an illusion, and that if you think of a movie, that you're sitting there in a theater and you're watching this movie, these images race across the screen, and it's just an illusion of life. It's not really life. It's an illusion of life. And so isn't the movie that we're experiencing. These things that are happening to us, it's just an illusion. And like a mirage in the desert, you can just walk through that illusion, and you can do it through your consciousness. You can do it through shifting the way you're thinking.
That's a great metaphor. Absolutely. That it feels concrete, but yet it is a mirage. But there was a great thing I read once that elephants, when they're training elephants over in Thailand, they originally locked their legs down, one leg, hind leg, with a thick iron chain.
Yeah.
So it keeps pulling and it can't pull. Then after it's got that in its mind, they take it out to work to the fields and they tie it with a lotus reed with nothing. It could easily walk away, but it doesn't, because it has that old mindset that it can't break free of what's tethered to its leg.
Yeah.
And that's how we are. We're tethered. We're completely chained up by old beliefs. It just wraps around us like chains, and we're just trying to break free and release those chains. Have you ever seen, I just saw recently, the Scrooge movie, where his old partner in that movie, A Christmas Carol, his old partner, Marley, comes back and he has chains all over him and they rattle when he walks. And he says, I built these chains in my life, link by link. And now he's just completely trapped by chains. And it's very true of what we do mentally to ourselves.
Yeah. So anyways, we're tethered by a reed to our old belief systems.
Right. Well, and it feels like iron chains is the thing.
But it's not.
It's not. No, it's simply a thought pattern that you've thought over and over and over again. And you can, in fact, break free of that.
Yeah. And these thought patterns have been started creating since we were born.
Yeah.
The first thing that we were taught, we believed it.
Yeah.
And then we continue to believe these things because that's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, because you believe
that's what
that,
it is.
Yeah, because you believe that at the beginning, then circumstances come and reinforce that. And pretty soon you just go, well, that's just the way the world is.
Yeah. Bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Let me go to the last part of this principle. Okay, so once you understand this principle and accept it as truth, nothing, and I'll say it again, nothing can stop you from being, doing, and having everything you desire. That's a big thing. Everything you desire. Okay, now there's a lot of skeptics that would say, oh, wait a second here.
I agree. There's a lot of people who want to argue for their limitations and tell you just can't do it. I can't do it, and you can't do it. If you choose to listen to them and believe them, they're right. You
The
will
limitations.
not. Right. You will. Yeah. I mean, somebody had some great thing. Whether you believe you can do something or you can't do something, you're right.
Yeah.
It's really, if you want to listen to somebody say, you're just a Pollyanna, things aren't like that.
Yeah.
You can't have everything. You're just arguing for your limitations.
Yeah.
You're never going to break free with that kind of mindset and thinking.
No, not at all.